The man of knowledge must be able not only to love his enemies, but also to hate his friends. Man, let that sink in for just a second. It is brutal, isn't it? Welcome to today's lecture, everyone. Today, we're diving into a profoundly grim, high-stakes Gothic fable. We're going to look at the absolute price of intellectual freedom through the lens of Friedrich Nietzsche's philosophy. Because, as you'll see, to gain true knowledge, you might just have to completely betray the shared illusions of the people you love the most.
In this explainer, we're going on a dark, mythic journey of personal liberation. We're going to follow a master cartographer, a map maker who spent his entire life inside a comforting, walled city of human illusions. Until, one day, he steps out of those city gates forever. We'll track his evolution from a displaced mapmaker to a free spirit and finally into the sovereign master of his own reality. Okay, let's dive into part 1, the crime of clarity.
Our story starts with a massive intellectual crisis. For 40 years, this cartographer lived in the warmth of the old city, making a living by drawing these comforting, consoling fictions. But what actually happens when accuracy becomes more important to you than comfort? Well, think about the map of what was wished. For decades, he drew these beautifully ornate paradises, filled with gilded denial and cherubim guarding lush valleys. But then, on one cloudless autumn evening, he looks up, and the cold stars just refuse to align with his sacred drawings. He realizes with a shock that the universe is completely indifferent to human longing. What's actually out there is the map of what is real, barren limestone shelves and desiccated riverbeds. To draw the second map, that is committing the crime of objectivity. He figures out that telling the cold, hard truth actually threatens the foundational comfort of his entire society. The universe doesn't care about our wishes, and honestly, pointing that out is a transgressive, dangerous act.
Now notice how this crisis builds over time. Step 1. For 40 years, he's safely wrapped up in herd morality, just drawing these golden-leafed gods. Step 2 brings the autumn evening. This represents the decay of his old life and the shattering of his illusions. But the absolute turning point is step 3, a gray morning in early spring. Pay attention to that phrasing. It's not some triumphant sunlit exit. It's raw, it's freezing, and it's completely unglamorous. He leaves without saying a single word of farewell. And why? Because to explain why he was leaving would mean explaining his crime of seeing clearly, which frankly wouldn't have served anyone. So he just steps into true solitude, suspended in that agonizing liminal space of the free spirit. So what exactly does a free spirit pack for the desert of reality? First off, he leaves the gold leaf behind. Those shiny cultural dogmas, gone. He brings a theodolite, which is an instrument for measuring real, objective angles. And, most importantly, he brings a folded sheet of completely blank vellum. This right here is the 0 point of creation. Before any new values can exist, the old, cozy templates of human longing literally have to be wiped away. He who draws the map of what is real must first completely erase the map of what was wished. Let's move on to part 2, surgery on the soul. So now our traveler is out in the bone-white dust of complete isolation. He doesn't belong to the city behind him, and there's no destination ahead. Out here, he transforms from a mapmaker into a ruthless surgeon of the human soul. And this brings us to a really fascinating concept, philology. Historically, sure, it's just the study of language in old sources. But in our fable, the wanderer wields philology like a jagged quill. It's a surgical tool of etymology. He takes the sacred inherited manuscripts of humanity, holds them up to this dying desert light, and he dissects them. He's relentlessly searching for the anxious, flawed, entirely human hands that originally forged those so-called divine scripts. Think of the wanderer as a philosophical art restorer. The process goes like this. First, he examines the ancient inherited manuscripts of the fathers. Second, he takes a scalpel and cuts away the suffocating moss of theology that's grown over them for centuries. And finally, he strips away the cheap paint of human vocabulary to expose the absolute bedrock underneath. And look, he isn't destroying these things just to be malicious. He is scraping away the historical accidents of our language to find out what is actually underneath it all. Now, obviously, the city does not like this one bit. From the distant gates, the priests shriek at him. They call him a cold monster who hates his friends and loves only a barren reality. The wanderer hears them for sure, but he doesn't tremble. He completely ignores the shrieks, demanding absolute truth over absolute myths. He is more than willing to be the monster, if it means he is finally awake. Which brings us to part 3, peeling back the canvas. We are going deeper into the scorching heat of the desert now. Our wanderer confronts the absolute foundations of human speech, the heaviest concepts we carry around, words like good, evil, sin, and duty. By acting as that relentless art restorer, he deconstructs morality itself. He traces the etymology, the root of our morals. He looks at the concept of strength and finds its noble origins in Homeric vitality and power. But then he looks at what the meek labeled as evil and realizes, wait a minute, it was simply the vitality that they envied. These concepts are not divine laws handed down from the sky. They are just human artifacts. They are heavy with ancient resentment and historical accidents, constantly written and rewritten to serve changing masters. Uncovering this doesn't sadden the wanderer. Actually, it completely frees him.
Because humanity thinks in words, mastering his language grants the wanderer total mastery over his own mind. This is the ultimate philological gift. By realizing that his entire moral framework was just a series of inherited forgeries, he turns his unexamined chains into broken ornaments. He now has absolute sovereignty over his own vocabulary.
Let's turn to part 4, the Great Noon. We are fast approaching the climax of our fable, the Great Noon. This is the shadowless hour of absolute clarity, where the ideal of the Übermensch, the sovereign, self-mastered individual, is finally realized. But right before high noon, the wanderer is confronted by his own fading shadow. This shadow represents the last clinging remnants of his old life, his ancestral superstitions. Imagine this shadow collapsing in the bone-white dust, its voice rasping and desperate, pleading, "Please turn back. Give us the warmth of the golden cherubim. The cold stars are too heavy to bear without the comfort of our old lies." It's that agonizing tension we all face, isn't it? The desperate human pull to retreat back into comforting illusions rather than facing stark reality. So how does the wanderer respond to this? With a silent, unyielding embrace of the vertical, shadowless light. He offers no devotion. He offers absolutely no comfort. Standing perfectly straight under the punishing sun, he takes the corrupted, charred vellum of the past, all those old maps, all those old morals, and casts them right into the heat haze to be entirely consumed by the fire of the sun. And then the sovereign wanderer delivers his final, crushing retort to the dying shadow. He says, "There is no comfort in a forged map. I claim the terror of the open horizon over a kingdom of scribal errors." Man, that is magnificent. He is destroying the false idols entirely, and by doing so, he is purchasing the deed to his own intellect. He chooses the terrifying freedom of the open horizon over the cozy prison of a lie. He has achieved true self-mastery. As the clock strikes the great noon, he looks at his own reflection in the shimmering air. His mind becomes a perfectly blank surface. The mocking whispers of the shadow shrink to absolute nothingness beneath that vertical light. The final cleansing of all those old inherited contaminations is complete. He now stands ready, with his blank vellum, to write his own sovereign law upon the unmapped canvas of the world. Finally, part 5, Amor Fati. So, where exactly does this leave our cartographer? I mean, he burned his old world down. He stands in a barren desert. On paper, it sounds pretty depressing, doesn't it? But it's actually the exact opposite. This brings us to the philosophical culmination of his journey. He achieves amor fati, the love of one's fate. This isn't just about passively, grudgingly tolerating those barren limestone shelves and desiccated riverbeds. No, the wanderer fiercely, joyfully loves them. Why? Because they are unmistakably real. He embraces the terror and the beauty of existence exactly as it is, without needing a single consoling fiction or a single drop of gilded denial to make it palatable. That is true power. That, my friends, is true liberation. Which brings us directly to you. We all carry maps drawn by other people. Maps filled with comforting myths, historical accidents, and gilded cherubim designed to hide the cold, indifferent stars. So ask yourself, if you were to walk out of your own city gates tomorrow morning with nothing but a blank sheet of vellum, what comforting lies would you need to burn to map your own absolute reality? Think about it. Class dismissed. Until next time, keep questioning your maps.